Hi guys, welcome. I hope you are doing well. Here is the second part of our lecture series on cropping system chapter. You can follow me on Instagram or Telegram to get notifications related to our video lecture series. The links are in the description box. So today we are going to discuss about various indices of biological advantages. In first class, we have already discussed about various indices of land use efficiencies. So today we are going to discuss about biological advantages. So these biological advantages is important in case of intercropping situation. Then what is intercrop? Intercrop is growing two or more crops together on the same piece of land at same time with a definite row pattern. So I'll give a small example. For example, wheat and mustard, these two crops are grown on the same land at the same time with a definite row pattern. So we'll say that it is a intercropping situation of wheat mustard. So in this case, remember one thing, intercropping may be of two types. Intercropping may be of two types. One is additive series, another one is replacement series. So in this case, in case of additive series, there is one main crop or base crop. So remember, one base crop or main crop is there, and another one is intercrop. So in case of base crop or main crop, the plant population is the same as the pure culture or sole stand. Sole stand or pure culture means it is this alone when the crop is grown alone, means only wheat crop will be grown. That is the sole stand of wheat. Okay, so that is the base crop or main crop. So here the population of base crop or main crop is same as the sole stand. But in case of intercrop, the population is less than the sole stand. So I'll give a small example of additive series. The example is sugarcane plus potato. Because in case of sugarcane, the line or the row spacing is about 90 centimeter. So there is a larger spacing or wider spacing crop. So in case of wider row crops, the inter row space is not utilized. So the main purpose of growing additive series of intercropping is to utilize the inter row space for growing some another crop. So in this case of, for example, here one line of sugarcane is there, another line of sugarcane is there, in between there 90 centimeter gap is there. So generally when we will not grow any intercrop, then this 90 centimeter gap is waste. So in this space weed will come. So better we should utilize this interspace or interrow space. So now we will grow potato crop in this space. So this is known as additive series, because here the population of sugarcane crop is not disturbed. Only the potato crop is adjusted in between two rows of sugarcane. So that is known as additive series of intercropping. But in case of replacement series, there is no base crop or main crop. Both crops are known as intercrop, or both crops we can say those are component crops. It means the population of both crops is less than the sole stand. So I will give one example of replacement series. The example of replacement series is wheat plus mustard cropping system. In case of wheat plus mustard cropping system, 9:1 ratio is maintained, in which 9 rows of wheat is maintained. Okay, this is the 9 rows of wheat. Then 10th row of wheat is replaced by the mustard crop. It means we will replace this wheat row of 10th row of wheat, and instead of wheat we'll grow mustard here. Then we'll sow wheat again, and after 9 rows of wheat we'll sow mustard again. So in this way we'll maintain 9:1 ratio, 9 rows of wheat, 1 row of potato. So in this way replacement series is maintained, in which the population of both crops. It means here wheat crop, population of wheat crop and population of mustard crop. The population of both crops are disturbed. Okay, means population of both crops are less than their sole stand. So that is known as replacement series of intercropping. So when two crops are grown together, there may be three kinds of relationships between them. So those are mutual competition or mutual inhibition, we can say. Another one is mutual cooperation. And last one is compensation. Okay, so three kind of relationships are expected when two crops are grown together. So I will give a small example to indicate when these things will occur in an intercropping situation. For example, the intercropping situation is wheat plus mustard. So when the intercropping yield of wheat is lower than, so intercropping yield of wheat is lower than sole yield of wheat, and intercrop yield of mustard is lower than sole yield of mustard. So in this case, we can say the relationship is inhibitory or there is competition between these two crops. So the relation is cooperative one when the intercrop yield of wheat is more than sole crop yield. At the same time, the intercrop yield of mustard is also higher than the sole crop yield of mustard. Okay, it means the both crops have higher yield as compared to their sole crops. So the relationship is known as cooperative one. And the compensation is when the yield of one crop is higher than their sole crop, but yield of one crop is lower than their sole crop. For example, in case of wheat, the intercrop yield is higher than sole crop yield, but the yield of mustard is lower than the sole crop yield. So this kind of relationship is compensation. So out of this type of relation, these three type of relationship, the most frequent one is this compensation type of relationship. Whenever there is an intercropping situation, we'll expect that the yield of one crop will be higher and the yield of another crop will be lower. So that is the most frequent kind of relationship that is observed under field condition. So now we'll discuss about different indices that will measure these competitions between two crops. Those are grown simultaneously on a same piece of land. So coming to the first parameter, that is relative yield total. This relative yield total was given by DeWitt and Vandenberg in 1965. It is a measure of the extent to which different crops share their resources. So I'll give a small example. For example, it is the same example, that is wheat plus mustard. In case of wheat plus mustard, so these two crops are grown together. So there are some resources like water, sunlight, nutrients. So whether there is any competition between these two crops for their resources, whether they are utilizing the resources fully, whether they are sharing their resources, or one is dominant and one is suppressed, and one is utilizing all the resources and another one is not getting any resources. So those things will be indicated by this relative yield total. It means this relative yield total indicates the extent of resource use between two crops. So the formula of relative yield total is, it is the summation of ratio between yield of intercrop divided by yield of sole crop. So here the example, that is wheat plus mustard. We can say, for example, the sole yield of wheat is 4 ton per hectare, and sole crop yield of mustard is 2 ton per hectare. But when these two crops are grown intercrop, means those crops are intercropped. So intercropped yield of wheat is 3 ton per hectare, and intercrop yield of mustard is 1.5 ton per hectare. So calculate the relative yield total. Okay, so it indicates relative yield total. So it is simple, that is relative yield total means we will sum these relative yields. So relative yield of wheat. So relative of yield of wheat will be intercrop yield of wheat, that is 3 ton per hectare, divided by sole crop yield of yield, sole crop yield of wheat, that is 4 ton per hectare, plus relative yield of mustard crop, that is intercrop yield of mustard, that is 1.5 ton per hectare, divided by sole crop yield of mustard, that is 2 ton per hectare. So now we'll combine this, that is 0.75 plus 0.75, that is 1.5. So relative yield total of these wheat plus mustard system is 1.5. So the calculation is simple. We'll calculate relative yield for individual crops, then we'll sum this relative yield to get relative yield total. Then what is the interpretation of this relative yield total? What does it indicate? So if relative yield total is less than 1, then it indicates that there is a competition between two crops, and one crop is dominant and one crop is suppressed. One crop is suppressed maybe due to the allelopathic effect of the dominant crop. And if it is between 1 to 2, then there is a partial competition between the two species. So it is the partial competition. And if it is 2, then there is no competition between these two crops and the resources are fully utilized. And if it is more than 2, then it indicates that the two crops are not competing with each other and there is one stimulating effect of growing these two crops together. Okay, so here no competition, but there is also a stimulation effect. So in our example, the relative yield total value was 1.5. So it indicates that there is a partial competition between wheat and the mustard crop. I hope the concept is clear now. Now coming to the second indicator, that is land equivalent ratio. This land equivalent ratio was given by Wiley. This is one of the most commonly used indicator for agronomic yield advantage. The formula of land equivalent ratio is the same as the relative yield total. So that is the summation of yield of intercrop divided by yield of sole crop. It is the same formula, but the difference is in the interpretation. In interpretation of relative yield total is used to consider the resource use between these two crops. But in case of land equivalent ratio, it is used to calculate the yield advantage or the quantity or the amount of land required to get the same amount of yield as that of the sole crop. Then what does it mean? So we'll use the same example, that is wheat plus mustard situation. In case of wheat plus mustard intercropping, we use that sole crop of wheat was 4 ton per hectare, and in case of mustard it was 2 ton per hectare. And in case of intercropping, in case of wheat it was 3 ton per hectare, and in case of mustard it was 1.5 ton per hectare. So we'll calculate land equivalent ratio to know what is the land quantity that should be required for getting the same yield as compared to sole cropping, because definitely in case of intercropping the yield of wheat is reduced, yield of mustard is also reduced. So what should be the extra land that we should get that, so that the yield of intercropping should be as that of the sole cropping. So we'll calculate land equivalent ratio. So in case of wheat it will be 3/4, and in case of mustard it will be 1.5 divided by 2, and it is 0.75 plus 0.75. So one's answer is LER for this intercropping situation is 1.5. So what does this 1.5 indicate? This 1.5 indicates that 50% extra land is required for getting the same yield as that of sole crop. Okay, so we should require 50%. If it is 1.5, it means 50%. We'll consider this one. If it is 1.2, then 20% extra land is required. If it is 1.3, it means 30% extra land is required to get the same yield as that of the sole crop. Okay, so there are two types of interpretation of this LER. For example, 1.5 LER is there. The first interpretation is 50% extra land is required to get the same yield. So here yield is constant. It means the yield in sole crop and yield in intercrop is same. To get the same yield in intercrop as that of sole crop, we need 50% extra land for growing intercrop. That is the first interpretation. And in case of second interpretation, there is 50% yield advantage. There is 50% yield advantage from the same land as that of intercrop. It means in case of sole crop, for example, 1 hectare land is there, and in case of intercrop, 1 hectare land is there. If the land is same, then intercrop is having 50% more yield. Means there is 50% yield advantage in case of intercropping. So that is what 1.5 LER is indicating. So it is simple. So I will give another example. In examination, it may be asked like 1.7 is the LER. Then what is the yield advantage of the intercropping? So yield advantage is 70%. So remember one thing, if the land is same, then yield advantage is 70%. If yield is same, then interpretation is 70% extra land is required to get the same yield as that of sole crop. I hope the concept of LER is clear. Here I would like to give another example. For example, the intercropping situation is wheat plus lentil. Okay, in examinations, this kind of question can be asked. Like the intercropping situation is wheat plus lentil. In case of wheat, the sole crop yield is 3.33 ton per hectare, and in case of lentil, the yield is 1.04. Okay, and in case of intercropping situation, the wheat yield is 3.06, whereas the lentil yield in intercropping situation is 0.35. Then question will ask, what is the yield advantage due to intercropping? So this can be asked. So simple, the solution will be simple. We have to calculate the LER. So LER, total LER is LER plus LER for wheat plus LER for lentil. So for LER for wheat, that is intercrop yield divided by sole crop yield. So that is 3.06 divided by 3.33 plus LER for lentil is 0.35 divided by 1.04. Okay, so LER for wheat is 0.92 and LER for lentil is 0.34. So we'll just add this, and the summation is, that is total LER. So total LER for wheat plus lentil system is 1.26. So here the answer is LER, that is 1.26. Then what does this 1.26 indicate? That is 26% yield advantage due to this wheat plus lentil system from the same area as the sole cropping. Okay, that is the first interpretation. And we can also say that 26% extra land is required for wheat plus lentil system to get the same yield as that of the sole crop. It means to get 3.33 ton per hectare in case of wheat and 1.04 ton per hectare for lentil, we need 26% extra land. So that is the interpretation. So I think the concept is very clear. We can easily attempt this kind of question in the examination. Then coming to the next parameter, that is relative crowding coefficient. This relative crowding coefficient was given by DeWitt in 1960. So this relative crowding coefficient indicates the dominance of one species over another species in an intercropping situation. I'll give an example. Suppose chickpea and mustard cropping situation is there. And the ratio of chickpea and mustard cropping is 4:1. The yield of chickpea is under sole cropping, the yield of chickpea is 16 quintal, but under intercropping, the yield is 4 quintal. Then calculate relative crowding coefficient for chickpea. So RCC for chickpea, the formula is the intercrop yield of chickpea divided by sole crop yield of chickpea minus intercrop yield of chickpea into the proportion of mustard divided by the proportion of chickpea. So here the proportion of chickpea is 4, the proportion of mustard is 1. So by putting all these values in the formula, the RCC for chickpea is, intercrop value for chickpea is 4. So it is 4 divided by 16 minus 4 into proportion of mustard is 1 and proportion for chickpea is 4. That is 1/4. Okay. So that is 4/12 into 1/4. So the answer is 1/12. So RCC for chickpea is 1/12. It means it is less than 1. So what is the interpretation of relative crowding coefficient? So it says that if it is less than 1, then the considered crop is suppressed. And if it is equal to 1, so there is no gain or no loss. But if it is less than 1, then the considered crop means, in this case, the chickpea is suppressed and there is yield loss in case of chickpea. And if it is more than 1, then there is an advantage in yield in case of chickpea or the considered crop. Then coming to next, that is aggressivity. This aggressivity was given by Gilchrist in 1965. It indicates the relative increase in yield of one species over another species in an intercropping situation. So for example, chickpea and mustard intercropping is there in the ratio of 4:1. The sole crop yield in case of chickpea is 16 quintal and in case of mustard is 33 quintal per hectare. And the intercropping yield in case of chickpea is 4 quintal and in case of mustard it is 20 quintal, for example. So now we have to calculate the aggressivity of chickpea with respect to mustard. So the formula is aggressivity of chickpea with respect to mustard. Okay. So aggressivity of the species which is calculated, it will be in the first, and the with respect to which it is calculated, it will be in second. So we'll read this: aggressivity of chickpea with respect to mustard. Okay. So the formula is intercropping yield of chickpea divided by sole crop yield of chickpea into proportion of chickpea minus intercropping yield of mustard divided by sole crop yield of mustard into proportion of mustard. So now what is this proportion? So we have to give a special attention on this proportion. So here it is written that the sowing ratio or the row ratio of chickpea and mustard is 4:1. So when we'll calculate the proportion of chickpea, then it will be 4 divided by 5. Why? Because here the total ratio means total amount is 5. Out of means 4:1 means out of 5 parts, chickpea is shown in 4 parts and mustard is shown in 1 part. Okay, so the proportion of chickpea will be 4 by 5 and the proportion of mustard will be 1 by 5. I think it is clear. Okay, the proportion means out of total amount in which area the chickpea is shown and what is the quantity of area in which mustard is shown. So simply we'll add the proportion, that is 4.1, that is 5, and out of this total amount, mustard in chickpea is in case of 4 by 5 and mustard is in case of 1 by 5. So I hope it is clear. So Z chickpea will be 4 by 5 and Z mustard will be 1 by 5. Okay, so now we'll put all these values in this formula. So aggressivity of chickpea with respect to mustard is, so coming to the interpretation of aggressivity, if it is less than 0 means negative, then the species is suppressed, and if it is equal to 0, then both the species are equally competitive, and if it is positive or more than 0, it means the crop is dominant. So in our example for chickpea, the aggressivity was in negative. It means that the crop is suppressed by the mustard crop. Okay, and if it is positive, then the crop is dominant. I hope the concept of aggressivity is clear now. Then coming to the next, that is competition coefficient. It was given by Willy and Rao in 1980. So what does this competition coefficient indicate? It is nothing, it is the same formula as the aggressivity, but here one difference is there. In aggressivity, we subtract the aggressivity of one crop from the another crop, but here the ratio of aggressivity of one crop and another crop is taken. Means it indicates the number of times by which one crop is more competitive as compared to the other crop. So here the formula of competition coefficient is simple. That is the intercrop yield of one crop. That is, for example, we'll use the same example, that is chickpea plus mustard. So intercrop yield of chickpea divided by sole crop yield of chickpea into proportion of chickpea. Okay. In case of aggressivity, we just subtracted the intercrop yield of mustard divided by sole crop yield of mustard minus into proportion of mustard. Okay, that was aggressivity. But in case of competition coefficient, we will take the ratio of these two instead of this subtraction. Okay, so competition coefficient of chickpea with respect to mustard is intercrop yield of chickpea divided by sole crop yield of chickpea into proportion of chickpea divided by intercrop yield of mustard divided by sole crop yield of mustard into proportion of mustard. So it is the ratio of these two. Okay, instead of subtraction, we are using ratio. That is the competition coefficient. Okay, so what is the value of this? We'll put the value, that is intercrop yield of chickpea, that is 4 divided by 16 into Z, that is 4 by 5, and here it is 20 divided by 33 into 1 by 5. So here it is 0.3125. If we'll solve this, divided by this one, if we'll solve this, then it is 3.03. So the answer will be 0.103. Okay, so 0.103 is the competition coefficient. Then what is the interpretation of this competition coefficient? It indicates that if it is less than 1, then the crop is less competitive. Okay, so here the 0.103 is less than 1. It means the chickpea is less competitive as compared to the mustard crop. So that is all about today's class. I hope the concept of these indices about biological advantage is clear. And in examinations, the name of the scientist is also equally important. You have to remember the name of the scientist. Okay. Along with that, if some small numericals will come, then you can easily give the answer. So thank you for listening. Take care.